Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of With Conviction, a story of hope, horror, and history. My name is Rain, my pronouns are she, her, and I am your GM for this adventure. With me are my heroes for this campaign. Why don't you all introduce yourselves?
Hi there, I'm Alice. I play Desdemona Hartwood. Both of us use she and they pronouns, and Desdemona is a rose heart guardian magical girl. She's got a gothy, punky kind of vibe, and she's got a heart of pink and a largely destroyed kitchen.
Hi, I'm Skylin. My pronouns are they and them, and I play Chris Whitlock, whose pronouns are she or any. Chris is our Firebrand Artillery team captain, magical not a girl, who is probably about to call some form of team meeting.
And I am Rob. My pronouns are he, him, and I play Eliza Hardwick, Destroyer of Kitchens, whose pronouns are she, her. Eliza is our fiery, stalwart soul warrior magical girl, who is probably heading to the library.
Indeed, and after you've left a destroyed kitchen in your wake, what are you looking up at the library?
So, an idea has struck Eliza. She wants to have, like I said, a way to control whether they get in and out of the gray. And Hazel said that there is a lock on her gray. And Eliza knows that any lock can be picked, but this isn't some sort of physical lock. It's something more magical and metaphysical. So she's going to have to hit the books a little bit to figure out how that works.
Yeah, and so you're trying to find occult knowledge within the stacks of your local library?
Yes. And I have an idea of how she's going to do this.
Uh-huh.
So I think Eliza walks into the library. Presumably Faith is with her.
Yeah.
Eliza just walks up to the reference desk, and whoever's there, she says, "Hi, I need to look up which books a friend of mine was checking out." So she and I are working on a group project about some old, historical and magical stuff. It's about various magical practices in Europe and the Americas. But I need to pull up what books she read. So my friend is a Hazel Glass, and well, Eliza rolls an 11 to lie +1 for Silver Tongue.
Oh, okay. Do you know how long ago your friend checked these out?
It would have been back in around mid-September.
Okay, give me a moment. She goes to the computer and looks that up. And after a moment, she gives you a list of titles.
Thank you. I'll go see if I can track these down.
Okay. Go ahead and roll research.
All right. Now I did just spend that 11, so we'll see how this goes. You know how
Watch it
dice
turn out
are.
better.
Oh well, it's an 8 + 1 makes it 9 for research.
All right. And so you're able to find some of the books, but some of them also appear to have been checked out at the same time. So
Is it that
what do you
Hazel
do?
has not returned them and owes a bunch of late fees?
You wish. No. But what do you do with the books that you are able to find?
Eliza's logic is that Hazel was looking in these books sometime before she worked out how to open up a gray. And actually, I think she's sitting down in one of the study rooms, and she's saying this to Faith. So, all right, Faith. Hazel checked out these books back in September, and so I think that she was already on the trail of how to open up a gray and make this magic work. And you remember my birthday?
Yeah?
How Tesserae got attacked by a light monster?
I mean, I remember Des mentioning that.
Oh,
but-
right. Yeah, you were with me. Okay. Yeah, so Tesserae got attacked by a light monster, and the only source of light monsters in town is Hazel. So she
Oh.
must have. Yeah, yeah. But she must have opened up at least some sort of light portal, maybe not a full-on one, but something, or conjured a light monster, and it went and attacked my birthday party. So we
Do you
must
think
have
it
had
was?
some not.
Do you think it was deliberate?
My gut says yes, but my head says no. Because, I mean, I kind of want Hazel to be the bad guy in all this, but also she doesn't have anything against Tesserae. I only think they've met once at the diner.
Huh.
Yeah. So, logic says it was probably an accident. Anyway, somewhere in these books is probably info on how a gray can be opened, and what I want to figure out is a way to force it open so that we can control whether it's going to work. And look, my thinking, I've got magic that Hazel doesn't have access to. I bet you I can figure this out. I can make a pick for her lock.
Huh.
Yeah,
Do you think that'd work?
well, it might.
I mean,
And-
if we weren't, if words.
well, do you want to help me read through these?
Sure. I don't really know what I'm looking for, but I can help or try to.
Well, let just let me know if anything jumps out at you.
All right. So, Eliza, why don't
Mhm.
you take a moment to paint the scene for me? What does it look like as the hours tick by and you work on trying to puzzle this out?
Eliza has this tendency to do two things at the same time. She'll get very focused on something, and she will create a visual aid for it. So, as these hours are passing, she is flipping through these books, not like checking her phone or anything. She has probably forgotten to eat and will unless Faith puts food in front of her. But she is creating this. Well, it's very close to her conspiracy board. It's put together just on taped together pieces of paper instead of on a whiteboard. But it is this map of connections and knowledge that bridges together what she can figure out from these books and her own magic.
Is Paul Bunyan on it?
I don't think so.
All right. So, you're sitting in the study room with Faith. As the hours tick by, the sun rises overhead and passes through its zenith. And you go through books and more books. And as you're going to get some more paper, how do you react when you see Hazel sitting in a chair with a book in front of her, her back turned to you?
Eliza steps forward. She takes in a breath.
Hazel doesn't seem to react. You can actually see her shoulders moving up and down rhythmically.
Hazel is unarmored. Eliza knows she's helpless. Eliza knows she could end this right now. She does that gesture again, the flourish that conjures her sword, but she stops halfway through. Her own voice echoes in her head. Kill me. Kill me and then look Chris in the eyes. Eliza turns and leaves.
And Hazel, asleep, never realizes how close she just came. So, by the time that you've done all of your reading and put together everything that you can figure out, everything that you might be able to speculate or posit, some time has passed, and when you look again, Hazel is gone. What do you do with all the information that you have gathered, all these things that you think might be able to help you create a lockpick?
I think we see Eliza and Faith now back at the pool house. And it might just be that Eliza is deliberately leaning into it, or it might be something she picked up in her research. But there is a full-on magical circle on the floor.
Uh-huh.
And it's a big old circle about 8 feet across. And there's a collection of symbols in it. Some of them would be immediately familiar to anybody who knows 17th century alchemy. Others aren't. The entire thing is traced on the floor in charcoal. And this is outside of the pool house, I think. And lying in the middle of it is the Rider's Sword.
Des, do you walk outside to see this?
Please, yeah.
I think we see the camera's like over Eliza making these preparations, and the camera refocuses slightly to show Des in the background watching through the like sliding glass door, silently going like, "What is happening out there?" Just mouthing the words. Yeah. I think Des steps out to go. Eliza,
Hey, Des.
what you doing?
Oh, magic stuff.
Mm, what? That's not. That's not an explanation.
Well, I'm not allowed to cook, so she grins.
So, okay, so you were like, what's a different way I can cause property damage?
Now, this is just charcoal. It'll wash away real quick.
Okay, important question. Is the charcoal pancakes? What did it used to be pancakes?
You are astute.
Des just like pinches the bridge of her nose and is like, okay, well,
There's a bit of nonstick in the charcoal.
Oh no.
Still don't breathe that. I guess it found a better use. I guess.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a better use of my time. And Eliza crouches down and presses both of her hands to the edge of the circle. Purple fire streams out from her hands along the charcoal, lighting it in this ethereal glow from beneath. It's not immediately clear from looking at it, at least from looking at the circle, but once the fire is there, there's a clear flow to it. It's all flowing inward towards the center of the circle. The fire is streaming in as it consumes the charcoal. All of this power and magic laid out in the circle, flowing inward into the Rider's Sword. Eliza's power and magic. And I think this is the moment for me to roll misusing magic.
That sounds about right. Yeah, this definitely sounds like misusing magic.
Now, what am I adding to this?
Also, misusing pancakes.
Well, yeah.
You are adding your current conviction. So what is that?
3 darkness at the moment.
Okay.
All right, well, that is an 8 on the dice, plus 3 is 11.
All right. On a complete success, you maintain control throughout the whole process and get exactly what you wanted.
All of the charcoal has been consumed, and it didn't even need to be washed away. Just the remnants of pancake and Teflon have merged with the darkness and the sword. And Eliza just steps forward and picks up this sword that is now... It looks odd somehow. Like the edge of it is coated in shadow.
You pick up this sword. Everyone else sees the edge of this sword coated in darkness. You feel those same emotions roil through you that had reached out to you, that had emerged from your own subconscious when the darkness touched you the first time. That offer of power, that desire to destroy, seething and ready to be used.
Eliza picks up the sword and stares at it for a moment. And then she drops it and backs away towards Faith. Whoa.
What's wrong?
That thing... the dark in it is...
That's...
It has a will.
Faith looks at Eliza and then looks at Des, and that's good, right? Or bad?
Eliza sits down on the tile that are surrounding the pool. Faith? Des? I need to tell you something.
Faith sits down with you.
The night we rescued Hazel, when we found her the first time, the dark, it overtook me. It burst out from within me and I passed out. You remember that, Des?
I do.
It spoke to me. Not in words, but in feelings. And it offered me power and strength. It offered to help me. It offered to help me kill everyone I'm afraid of. And I don't want to... She shakes her head. Faith? A higher power spoke to me, and it wasn't God or the devil, and I don't know what to make of that. Des? I don't think I should be the one who handles that sword. I think it can get us into Hazel's Grey without her permission, but I don't think I should be the one holding it.
Okay. I have kind of seen both sides of the powers here. I'll take it.
Eliza nods.
Des picks up the sword.
You feel that same power within it, waiting to be used. Your mind rushes immediately to the ways that you could employ this, not just against Hazel, but against others, against people who want to hurt you, who want to hurt people like you. You could break down so many things that are just rotten and make sure that they never hurt anyone again.
Des goes, "Oh, okay, I get it. That's not a very nice sword we made."
Was it the pancakes?
I don't think so.
Des
Faith
nods
actually
solemnly.
Faith actually laughs.
Eliza does too.
The tortured soul of the pancakes lives on through this sword.
It's about this time that Dez's phone starts ringing.
Des takes it out. I assume it's from Chris?
Yeah.
Then she picks up and goes, "Hello, Evil Sword Emporium."
What?
What?
Eliza laugh.
I was gonna call a team meeting, but that's definitely happening now. What?
Oh, no, we should have a team meeting. Maybe we can jointly teach Eliza how not to burn down a kitchen.
Uh,
You didn't burn down a kitchen.
it's a really good thing I already talked to Jesse about my nightmares, huh?
As long as your nightmares include Eliza burning pancakes to charcoal, then yes.
I mean, it was more like getting torn apart by monsters, but
Mm.
I'm on my way back from climbing. I'll see you soon, I guess.
Yep, we'll be here. Just the three of us, and, as stated, the evil sword.
Okay. Chris hangs up and looks at Jesse and goes, I thought I was the one who made bad decisions.
Hey, no judgment from me. I've been party to more than enough.
Chris laughs. There's... we gotta go find out what the heck just happened.
Okay, do you need me? I kind of have some stuff that I need to take care of.
There's a moment where Chris's eyes just sort of search Jesse's face, like,
I can put it off if you need me, but
I should be okay. I should be okay. I'm still not sure I'm doing my job as captain, but this helped. I think I can do it. And we really need to come up with some new moves, some new plays. And that's something I'm good at. So you go do your thing.
Jesse gives you a slap on the back. Go break a leg.
Chris laughs and smiles, and I'm assuming at this point they are at the volleyball house, and Chris is just going to hop in her car.
Yep. It's not too long. It's not too difficult for you to get back to your car and then to Dez's.
So what is it that Chris sees when she drives up and comes to a stop in the driveway?
I think Eliza and Faith are sitting next to each other, and Des is sitting there with the sword on her lap.
There's a thunk as the door to Chris's car closes, and she sort of looks over the car at everyone and goes, "So what happened?"
I ran into Hazel at the library.
What?
Yeah. She was just.
Whoa.
Oh, did I forget to say?
Yeah, you didn't tell me that bit. You just made this evil sword.
Oh, yeah, okay. But Hazel was at the library, and I thought about talking to her or something, but then I decided that was a bad idea. But, well, now we know she's leaving her gray to do normal people stuff, I guess.
Chris checks her phone. She's remembering that the text that she sent this morning was to the original Pancake Squad and not to the smaller group.
There hasn't been any messages from Hazel, at least.
Once Chris puts her phone away, she just sort of stares at Eliza.
So, yeah, good news. I think we've got a way to get into Hazel's gray now. And she gestures at the evil sword.
We got into it twice, Eliza?
Yeah, but we didn't know exactly how or why. And Hazel implied there was a lock on it. And I made a lockpick.
So why did Des call it Evil Sword Emporium then?
Why don't you try picking up the sword?
It takes her a few solid seconds to unlock her muscles and then come around the car and very dubiously holds out her hand to Des to take the sword.
Des gently grabs the blade and hands the hilt to
I'm realizing something right now, actually.
the sword's evil.
Chris has never hit their breaking point in the dark direction.
Chris,
Mm-hmm.
who is it you would most like to see gone in the world?
Chris's mind unwillingly flicks to the image of the guidance counselor from her high school and the multiple meetings in which, during career planning times as a junior, as a senior, this guidance counselor looked at her and said, "Sports will do no good in the world." That's not a career.
And in your mind's eye, you see that guidance counselor, and you see this sword in your hand, and you know that you could unmake him. Not just kill, not just destroy, you could unmake him. Every bad thing that he's ever done, every piece of advice that has ever hurt a student, you could make it go away.
Chris instinctively throws that sword as far away as she can. And she looks at Eliza and she goes, "We are not using that."
We hear a really loud, distressed cat meow in the distance.
I think it sticks point first into a tree.
When Chris turns around to see the tree, she will feel very bad about that.
Yeah. Remember what I said about how light is not good and dark is not evil?
Yeah?
I'm starting to wonder if I had that half right, because at the moment I feel like they're both evil.
I'm confused. Those are what you all use, right?
Yeah.
It's not the same.
How?
Actually, that's... Eliza walks over to the tree and retrieves the sword.
It's stuck in there good.
She works it back and forth a bit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
then
was gonna say,
just,
give me a strength check.
then just looks over at Chris and says, "God, you're strong."
Eliza, you're blushing.
Nope. No, I'm not.
Chris studiously ignores this and tries to answer Faith's question. She does that thing where she sort of looks in the middle distance and thinks. This is the internal thinking, not the problem-solving thinking.
Faith, do you want to help me with an experiment?
Does it involve the sword? Faith looks over to Chris with hesitation.
Yeah, I want you to hold it and see if it speaks to you.
Looks at Chris. Looks at Des. You get the impression she's trying to convey something through her expression. It is not
Which
working.
is really hard to read given the dreamlike face.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yep. You don't have to.
Given the reactions of everyone who's touched it so far, if it's okay, I'd rather not.
Anyway, with this, I think we can cut our way into Hazel's Gray.
We are not using it, Eliza.
Wait, I know the sword is evil, but it can also help us? Why would we not use it?
Well, it is evil. But
we use these powers at a fraction of what the whole thing felt like. You two know this better than I do. I remember being completely awash with that power, and that is what that sword feels like. That's not controllable.
I just had a thought. You said awash with the light, right?
Chris just looks down at her feet.
I'm wondering. So, the avatars that we've run into, Hazel and the Rider, both of them were completely committed to one half of the spectrum. They didn't have those two halves to them, and we do. And I'm wondering if maybe when we explode, it doesn't hurt us directly. It's not destructive. It's not pleasant, but it's not destructive either.
It also leaves us useless.
Well, yeah, but you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a safety valve on a boiler. You build up too much pressure, and before the boiler can explode, the safety valve trips and lets it all out. And the boiler's not good for anything for a while after, but it doesn't explode fully. And I'm wondering if maybe that's what happens with us instead of becoming avatars. Faith, don't touch this. And Eliza walks over and hands the sword to Des.
Yeah. I'm good. I don't need a sword.
Yeah. Okay. Last time we gave somebody a sword, it didn't go great anyway, so...
Second time's the charm?
Chris walks back to her car and sits on the hood.
Oh.
Chris, are you okay?
No, and I haven't been.
Faith gives you a hug.
Thanks.
Is there... Is there something we can do about it?
We can figure out how we're gonna get Hazel back.
Okay.
Chris takes another breath and pushes herself off the car. Okay. I don't like the sword, but if you think you can be safe, then fine. More importantly, we need something that... We need practice. And we need plays that Hazel doesn't know. She hates saying those words. If we're gonna stop her, get her back, she knows us too well. You don't play a game against a team that you know really well without studying their moves and their plays and coming up with counterplays. We need something new. So let's spend some time drilling. Please?
Of course.
I think that's a good idea.
All right. So what does this look like?
Are we doing this here, or are we going down to the National Radio Quiet Zone?
Yeah. Actually, I have a good idea. I think we start the training, and it is not going great. And Des brought some food, and so we take a break. And as we're eating, we can talk a little bit, figure some stuff out,
Okay.
All right.
if that works for y'all.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
I think Chris had started off with some basic warm-ups and maybe a little bit of one-on-one sparring, and maybe that's what wasn't going super well.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, very few people are going to get off balance with the warm-up drills.
Eliza is trying out something new. From somewhere in the pool house, she seems to have pulled out a pair of what seem to be foam swords for LARPing purposes. And she is experimenting with this whole new combat style that only vaguely relates to fencing. It's heavy on like quick turns and even spinning around, but the main thing is that she's experimenting with trying to use those two swords. Mostly she seems to be going for using one to control what her opponent does and the other to strike, and mixing up the things between them.
I think while Eliza's doing that, Chris has sort of given up for a little bit and is helping Des set up the food.
So we feel a little off our rhythm, I guess would be the way to put it.
Yeah, this is not gelling the way it should.
So it's not just me, Eliza says as she drops the swords next to her chair. I assume there's a chair.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring some of those easy foldable chairs.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know quite how to address everything here, but somehow this feels worse than when we were trying to race off after Hazel.
Chris takes a bite of food so she doesn't have to talk.
You know we're going to get her back, right, Chris?
Chris's jaw tightens and she just keeps chewing.
There are very few things in life that I have faith in. No offense, Faith.
Is she here?
I guess she is.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know. For some reason, I just assumed we brought her with us.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, we're not forgetting Faith anymore.
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah. That was top of mind.
Mm.
I don't have faith in a lot of things, but I have faith in us, the three of us.
Four of
And
us.
not forgetting faith. I just mean the Winged Warriors. You know, we have not failed yet. We have saved the day multiple times, and when we save Hazel, that will be another success. I have no doubt in my mind that we will succeed, that we will save Hazel. She's done some bad things, some stupid things, but she's still our friend, and we're still going to make sure she's okay. And Chris, I don't know exactly what you're going through, but we're in this together. I know this is really hard on you, but it's hard on us too. And the reckless disregard for everyone who isn't Hazel is not great for the team.
Chris did get Faith back.
Yeah, and we got separated, and I went down, and I was still able to protect y'all, but we're out here to make sure that we don't have a repeat, to make sure that we are victorious, and that there's no one who can say that we didn't come out on top there. And working like last time, that's not going to happen. We're not going to get where we're going.
Chris finally finishes her food and brushes crumbs off of her shirt. Her face had gone through a number of emotions throughout that process, but we got attacked by really strong monsters, Des. We agreed to run. I was just covering your back for a second. And there were a lot of people in that bookshop, Des. None of them got hurt. Not until I pulled Faith into a literal mob of monsters. They're all fine. As fine as they can be. So
Yeah,
don't try to say that I'm not paying attention to other people. Please? I am trying really hard to play for the team like you asked me to. And I can't get Hazel out of my head. But if I had to pick, I would rather stay in that gray. Like Tilly did. Than watch any of you get hurt.
It's not going to come to that.
No, it's not. Chris wipes tears from her eyes. Are we okay to try something else? I had some ideas on the way.
Oh, okay. Eliza says through the pickle that's halfway into her mouth.
Chris looks at Des. Hope and a question on her face.
I just want to make sure you choose us and choose yourself if it comes down to that.
There's a long moment where Chris looks like she's chewing that over. What do you mean, Des?
Every time we talk about Hazel, every time we talk about ways to stop her or tools that we might use to make things a little simpler, a little easier, uh, it boils down to you telling us no, essentially. I know you're not explicitly saying no, but we're not gonna hurt Hazel in some sort of awful way. She's our friend too.
No, I have every intent of hitting her with a clue by 4. Des?
I'm sorry. Just sometimes the way you talk about her, I get worried that you're putting her above yourself.
I'd do the same for you, Des. And you, Eliza.
And Eliza points at Faith cheekily.
Chris nods.
Don't. It's fine. You don't need to worry about me.
Yeah, but we're not going to forget you.
Thanks.
Martyrdom is not what I'm looking for. I don't need you to choose me or Faith or Eliza over yourself. Okay. Maybe sports analogy. In a volleyball game, who is the most important player?
Chris blinks. There isn't one. Everybody's got a role to play and everybody has to talk.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a matter of one person leading the game and being the only reason that the team wins. Everyone has to be working together, communicating, and they have to pick themselves as much as they pick for other people. I need you to set for me. I don't need you to save me.
Okay. I think at this point, Chris just sort of leans into Dez's shoulder.
Yeah, Des was about to offer a hug.
I think I can do that.
All right. Well,
Can we please try some of these?
yeah. Let's train. Let's help Faith get a little better, huh?
Yeah.
So, why don't you all describe to me the sort of things you're training for? What kind of playbooks are you trying to put together?
So, we're doing like two major things. Our regular training montage, but we're also putting the finishing touches on our two remaining team moves.
Excellent. So what does that look like as you practice it?
Well, first of all, I think we all have to transform.
Yeah.
And Alice, I have a question for you. And Rob, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do Des and Eliza trust Chris?
Yes. Chris brought Faith back.
Yeah. Des still trusts Chris.
Okay. When Chris transforms this time, the blue and the orange are still there. The Bolero's still there. And the orange trim flickers like fire. And adorning her ears are a pair of pink glass earrings. But she claps her hands and says, "All right, let's get to work. Last time we were working on stuff. Des, we were working on something for you that was sand, and Eliza made some glass. Can we try that again?"
Yeah. Rain, do you want us to roll to transform, or do you want this to be like a more basic thing?
Go ahead and roll.
I got it. That's a 10 on the dice.
That'd be a 4 for me.
Oh no.
3. I'm paying for all those good rolls to make the sword.
Oh boy.
All right. Chris, which way do you shift?
Chris is shifting toward darkness.
I think Eliza goes through her full transformation sequence, just doing the entire thing overlaid with purple fire. And at the end of it, she summons her normal sword and then the second sword in a flash of frost. And then her feet land wrong because she's off balance and standing different because of the other swords. And she stumbles and tumbles into the lake.
Oh no.
It starts to ice over.
Yep. She emerges after a moment, just sopping wet, and just.
Think you can still make glass?
Yeah, one moment. And fire just starts up under her feet, and it looks like she's getting blow dried for a moment.
So
Dramatic wind.
Chris is setting up a line of sand along the lake, along the beach here for Eliza to burn into glass.
Before she does that, Eliza reaches up and grabs a handful of the sand and pockets it for later.
Not the pocket sand.
You have pockets?
No, the skirt does not have pockets. She tries this and then doesn't realize, and the sand just spills down her.
It's more about the intention.
Eliza just looks at the others and, there is one thing I miss about wearing guys' clothes.
Glass, please.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, and Eliza, she unfolds her jetpack and takes off. And she does this loop. And when she comes down from the loop at a very sharp angle, she flips herself upwards so that her jetpack itself is pointing straight down at the ground, running along this line of sand, and the fire itself is streaking into the sand and liquefying it.
Des?
Yeah?
What can you do with this?
She kind of like rolls her shoulders and does the like stretching her hands out in front of her, cracking her knuckles. Like, well, let me see how much glass I can control at once. She does a sort of like makes a motion like she's trying to like flip a table or something, like the both hands steadily rising in front of her.
All right. Go ahead and roll with your conviction. Don't forget the hesitation from the transformation.
Oh well.
Ooh.
That is 7 minus 1.
Love when the
Mhm.
modifiers matter.
So, what happens?
I think she is starting to manipulate this glass and kind of loses her grip on it for a moment, and all of the glass that had been created shatters.
It was just flexing so much, and as soon as you lose that magical grip, cracks just race across its surface as the stresses start to set in, and it shatters into large plates of very sharp glass.
Well, that's something.
Still got some work to do.
Yeah, that's
That's what we're here for. And I think Chris will push Des to try again and again and again until something works.
yeah. I think it's just a montage of Des trying different things with this created glass.
Indeed. And in between you working on that, I'm given to understand that you have something else you also want to develop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they both require all of us, though. So
Yeah, no
Sure,
worries. But
we can bounce back and forth. Like
why don't you tell me about this one?
It'd be good to take breaks for Des, I think.
Yeah. So Eliza is thinking back to their first few fights, and specifically to give me a boost. And she points out, as she's thinking about this, that the whole give me a boost thing kind of works for getting a high angle attack quicker than she can just on her jetpack on her own. But it only works on stuff that's really close already. And if they want to be able to like open with this or maybe finish with it, she might need to be able to hit somebody who's further away. So,
Can I help?
that's what I'm thinking, Chris. What if you spike me?
Chris is blushing. I can try.
Eliza, you can't just ask a not a girl if they'll spike you.
I tried it one time and that worked, so
Well, I know the footwork, so let's try it.
all right. And let's do this. So, Des, give me a boost.
Des goes to one knee, and her shield appears.
Eliza just runs at Des and jumps up to land on the shield and push off.
As Des uses as much of her own strength and powers to further launch Eliza upwards.
I think the first time Chris does this, it doesn't quite work, but she does the footwork that would normally be used for spiking on the volleyball court, and the last step, a platform under her foot, pushes her upward to match Eliza's height.
Yeah.
And she spikes Eliza downward.
All right. Chris, why don't you roll with your conviction for that?
Sure. Oh, God. Well, we're training. That is a 5 on the dice plus 1 is 6. Plus 1 for decisive is 7.
Aha.
Oh,
Yes. You very nearly miss it, but it does work. The concept is solid.
She's used to serving, not spiking.
Yeah, it's working out. It launches Eliza at a pretty good distance. Unfortunately, we didn't check the angle or anything, and there's a splash as Eliza goes headfirst into the lake. Again.
Oh, and that is where we will wrap up this episode.
Rip Eliza.
Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Thank you to my players. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a good night. Thank you again for joining us on this adventure. With Conviction is a production of Silver Maiden Games. If you would like to play Conviction, check out the game at silvermaidengames.itch.io. Music for the intro and outro of this podcast is A Soul with Conviction by Doom Vega, who you can find on Bandcamp. Music within the episodes is by Rachel Rose Mitchell, who you can find on Bandcamp and Spotify. All rights to the music are retained by their original artist. Production and editing are done by myself and the With Conviction cast. Thank you all. This would not be what it is without you. You can find this podcast on Spotify and YouTube or silvermaidengames.wordpress.com. You can also find more about the game, podcast, and ways to contact us at silvermaidengames.wordpress.com.